All right, thank you. We are down to the last session of the evening. Yes, a big round of applause for all the speakers. Thank you. Last session of the evening, ladies and gentlemen, fireside chat on the topic Scaling India Tech, Lessons from PhonePe's Success and FinTech Innovations. May I call on stage Mr. Vishal Gupta. He is the CEO of PhonePe Insurance, and Manish Khetarpal joins us back again as moderator. Manish, of course, is the co-founder and partner of Waterbridge Ventures and vice chair of the IVCA VC Council.
Double, yes. Okay,
Hello.
cool. As you can see, I'm filling in for Karthik, who tells us he's gone for some interesting work. Yeah, the work that we all fund managers. Yeah, he's gone fundraising. So, yeah, my apologies if I don't feel as caught up. Vishal and I met for the first time today. Of course, he's a well-known person in the world of fintech and payments and PhonePe, and particularly, insurance within the framework of PhonePe. So, excuse me if some of the questions aren't as deep, but excited to have you here. We have a real company that is building something in the area, and that's relevant for this topic. The one thing that I promised Vishal is that we're not going to talk about Bharat Vapsi. You heard enough about technical matters, financial matters, commercially what makes sense or not. You've also heard the fund manager's view on it. But maybe we'll talk a little bit, since we have you here, more contextual to this audience that's looking at fintech companies, extensions of fintech products and payment products. Maybe we'll keep it in that context. So if it's okay with you, how about we start with, actually I got to say something here that what OpenAI did to Google in terms of getting them a bit fired up on catching up, I can safely say PhonePe did that to their payments product in India. So first of all, congratulations and kudos to building at PhonePe, a very Indian product, and that really defined market leadership. Why insurance? Where PhonePe was with its strong position in the market, there's a lot of things that can happen as extensions to consumer payments. Why was insurance picked up as a leading area where you all put in tons of focus?
Sure. Hey, good evening, everybody. Thanks for having me here. If you think about why insurance largely, I think at PhonePe what we really like to do is basically identify the opportunities where the problems are not yet solved, right? And I think one of the biggest criteria what we look at is that, hey, can we grow this market, right? And if you can see that there are opportunities over there where basically amongst the entire fintech, if you think about, insurance is kind of catching up compared to the other segments of it. Given that completely offline-driven business, even today, if you think about, the digital penetration is very, very low. We believe that on the back of the consumer base, what we've built on the payments as a rails, right, fits into a very clear strategy in terms of how we thought about the consumer's relationship with the money, which is send, spend, manage, grow. And once we've solved for send and spend, we started kind of focusing around manage and grow.
Send, spend, manage, grow. Right. Oh, interesting.
And that's where basically once we solved for the send and spend part of it, the insurance kind of managed part of it.
Very interesting. And so under penetration, you didn't say the word, but clearly that is there, and you say it's sort of the next thing in the journey. And if you were to, I know you played multiple roles in the Flipkart ecosystem earlier as well, and then of course with PhonePe before the insurance piece of it. Do you think this as a large enough opportunity for a player like PhonePe? And this doesn't have to be a PhonePe specific question, but for large payments players, can insurance through mobile, can that be a, again spoken like a VC, a large TAM and a large profitable TAM market?
See, again, if you look at the way India has grown over the last decade or two, pretty much I think smartphones have penetrated way deeper. The digital infrastructure, we have one of the best ones in the India. I think anything which is basically at a consumer scale, right, which is kind of addressing the entire India, you can reach India and Bharat together. I think all of those opportunities are very, very exciting. And given that insurance is actually needed by everyone, I think based on the consumer reach what we have like a bunch of transactions or a bunch of volume coming from tier 2 and tier 3. Probably if you think about even for the right cause, to be able to serve the people who are underserved and probably people who need the protection the most are not getting it because of the distribution efficiencies of offline this thing. I think it fits in very naturally for us to kind of ride on that reach and build a innovative solution by thinking digital first, mobile native, and kind of deliver the value, and in the process, of course, make some money.
Interesting, and I will ask something that may be borderline provocative. Is there like even a chance in hell for a startup to do something in insurance on mobile? Given, I mean, we're PhonePe, Google Pay, and Paytm, and 3 or 4 large players with the kind of market presence and footprint they have. Is there a shot at it? And there are a bunch of us VCs here who are always looking for like new opportunities and new innovation in the space.
I think more than the shot for having the competition, honestly speaking, that should be least of the worry for any entrepreneur for that matter, right? Competition is always there. You can always come in and solve the right problem and bring in the right value to the user. The larger problem is more on the back-end side of it, right? Because if you look at the insurance as an ecosystem, still getting digitally ready. So there are lots of challenges in terms of how it is shaping up. While the awareness is there, but if you think about even the intent is there, but ability to transform those big incumbents where they start thinking digital first and not necessarily IT, right? It's a big transformation, and hopefully we'll play a role in that.
Interesting. So the classic, look, incumbents, even though they could be digital native, they do get big, and I'm not using the word lazy, but there is still scope for innovation, you're saying, if you just plan it appropriately. Okay. I'm switching gears a little bit. It is in the realm of one of our favorite topics as investors and proponents of India, of course, UPI is where I'm going with this. There's a lot that's said about UPI, the chai with the French president and paying digitally, and you can use UPI on Eiffel Tower or wherever. But in reality, is UPI actually exportable? Is this going to be a large exportable opportunity? Or is this just going to be large enough India opportunity?
No, I think it is definitely one of the best possible infrastructure if you can think about it. I still remember 2016 when we were building our PhonePe app first version. And when I did the first transaction, it was like so easy that my first reaction was, I can teach this to my grandma, right? I think if you look at to be able to build that simplistic experience, which is still secure and scalable, kudos to I think NPCI and bunch of entrepreneurs around that to be able to kind of build this ecosystem. I can very well say that this is the best payment infrastructure available in the world today. There are lots and lots of companies, lots of countries, right, who are showing lots of interest and trying to understand and figure out, hey, what can we do? How can we do something similar? And at the same point in time, I think there is a very clear push from the people who matters around this that, hey, let's export this technology by making it outsourced, making it open source, and make more and more people adopt this. Why reinvent the wheel when the problem has been solved nicely? And you can see as we are expanding into the countries, the kind of reaction what you see and kind of participation what you see from the local partners has been phenomenal. So very, very bullish on, I think, UPI becoming probably some bit of, at least global standard.
Very interesting. And I'll extend the question to your world. Do you think kind of things you're doing at PhonePe in the world of insurance, or maybe other extensions that PhonePe has gone into, where are some of the opportunities that you see that are exportable, where India can sort of build for the world?
So there are two aspects of fintech, if you think about, right? There's a technological aspect and then there's a regulatory aspect of it, right? I think technological aspect of whatever you're building is pretty much exportable to a large extent because the problems what you're solving for end of the day is a distribution at massive scale, simplifying the customer experience and obsessing over basically delivering the value. Regulatory aspect is a little tricky if you think about, because every country has different kind of regulation, but as somebody, one of the panelists mentioned, right, that end of the day, all of them are thinking similar. So except for, I think, meeting those nuances and trying to figure out, how do you kind of adapt to those local markets, those specific markets in terms of the regulatory needs, I think people can go and export some of these things also. But the larger question is how many people like to be regulated?
How many people will?
Like to be regulated.
Oh, like to be regulated. That's actually interesting because this is a heavily regulated space, insurance, for example. Okay, cool. I'm going to maybe flip back to me asking questions if there aren't any from the audience, but we can take one, maybe two questions. My request, just we don't need to talk about reverse flipping, particularly in the context of any one company or regulatory stuff, because you've heard a lot during the day. Maybe something from Vishal on PhonePe, business, commercial opportunities, and how PhonePe has sort of extended beyond payments. Anything that comes to mind? KK, please go ahead.
I know all along with the beyond payments, how important do you think advertising is going to be PhonePe? Because I think the whole movement from traditional advertising to digital is becoming real, and clearly you have a set of customers who are really very strongly linked to your platform. So do you see that as a fairly large stream of revenue?
Not really. If you think about advertising, generally is a byproduct of, I think, what you can kind of try to capture. I think at core we remain to be kind of trying to solve for basically accelerating every Indian journey and relationship with the money. So I think if you think about the large portion of revenue or large portion of opportunities will continue to come from the aspects of solving the real problem. And I think India scales come for free, right? As simple as that. And I think one of the simplest thing to do is, if you're growing the market, generally you're leading the market. And that's where we want to focus on each of the verticals, what we've opened up, be it lending, be it basically broking, be it, insurance side of it. We want to grow the market and not necessarily worry about the existing pie. And in the process, basically create lots of revenue opportunities and become the leader in the respective segment.
So I'm just trying to correlate to what you said earlier. So you're saying advertising comes in that send, spend, manage, grow. There's a lot to be done before, I don't know, send, spend, manage, grow, show. Advertising will be the show part of it. But also from a product perspective, do you think that this compromises the experience or makes it less serious because it's about managing money and growing money for individuals? If I was to suddenly an ad pops up as I'm doing a payment.
No, typically if you think about the dark patterns are bad for sure, right? You don't want to pop up an advertisement when you're kind of solving for serious need around, transaction. And all of those things are serious. When someone is coming to PhonePe app, their intent is very clear, right? We are not a browsing app. People come and use our app on an average 60 times a month, right? And in that particular this thing, if you think about, the purpose of the visit is very clear. You don't want to kind of, introduce an intrusive nature there. And to be very honest, as you said rightly, right, that there are so many problems to solve, yet to solve. We've not even, started on many of these businesses. We are still in 0 to 1 of, some of these businesses. I will pretty much consider insurance in 0 to 1 stage. If you look at health is 3% digital, 97% offline. You look at that massive opportunity, and honestly speaking, anything else is a distraction.
Fair. If you had one piece of advice for the founders in this audience or VCs who are trying to find those founders with that next unicorn or next sort of 10x outcome in the realm of fintech and actually payments related concentric circles around, what would be that one or two area where you think a lot more innovation can happen beyond, again, large companies like yourself?
No, I think there is one aspect on the execution side. I think one of the most important thing is basically, I think, don't try to do too many things ever, right? Pick your bets. Don't build your business models in a FOMO approach, right? It is always very important to be kind of, letting go of something, right? It's not, the markets are not running away, especially in India. If you look at our size, no opportunity is running away. There's nothing late to enter. I think you have to figure out the right timing to enter, right? If you think about from a patient's point of view or our strategy point of view, we entered into lending like after 7 years into this thing. So I think you need to have very patient approach to the entire problem statement. So that's on the generic approach. Specifically in the fintech, if you think about, again, I think don't try to find and solve for the niche if you're trying to build a consumer scale company. I think and solve for, I think, masses together. And honestly speaking, I can vouch for this that, this India and Bharat and some of these are, media narratives, not necessarily actually different. The difference is, far lesser these days because information is flowing freely. And aspiration-wise or knowledge-wise, if you think about a tier 2 or tier 3 person is not as different as a, metros or tier 1 cities. Think of them as an end customer and try to build for that, the common denominator rather than the lowest common denominator. And I think you can crack that. Simplicity, I think, is the key, right? Simplicity breeds scalability, as simple as that, right? And you have to kind of continuously think simple around it.
As they used to say, if you can drive in Old Delhi, you can drive in any part of the world. You're saying if you can make a product that works for that, maybe even lower price point customer, there is a very large market. And don't think of those audiences and customers as different.
Yes. In fact, I'll add to it, in fact, which I think, if you can build business in India and strive, you can build business anywhere.
Awesome. I don't know if we have time for one question from audience. One question, one last question, and maybe it better be a good one because that will be the last thing for the day. So, no pressure. Please. Seema, right?
Seema, long time no see, Manish. Shyam, so such a pleasure listening to you. I guess I'll be the obligatory question about including women in this equation because they're notoriously far behind, not just on financial and economic participation in the country, but also literacy. So is that something that you are doing as an organization, and what are some of the things that you think we can do to promote greater participation, especially as financial literacy becomes more digital financial literacy?
Well, that's a great question, and I think, honestly speaking, this is one topic which I keep thinking about, right? And if you think that the over the years, this gap which I've built, right? How many years it will take to kind of fill that gap, right? And how do I kind of start seeing what I saw for my mom, what I'm seeing for my wife, and what I'll see for my daughter, and how basically some of these unsaid expectations, the social expectations will be kind of erased or basically neutralized. And I think one of the most important thing there is basically if you think about the empowerment, right? And how do you kind of bring in those empowerment into hands of the people? And I do believe that naturally, basically something like PhonePe, right? Where basically more and more people, more and more women are using it now. And getting that financial independence to be able to spend and not make decision around, or not basically be dependent on someone to be able to make those decisions is going to be critical. And if you think from a adoption point of view, right, when we look at in terms of how that adoption is growing, that's phenomenal. So yes, there is a transformation which is in making, while I would still like to believe that probably it will take another 6 to 7 years, a generation basically, to kind of get to a near parity.
Thank you, Seema, for that question. I think I got my cue that we got to wrap this up. Thank you, Vishal, for being here and sharing candid.
Thank you so much. May I please request Rajat to hand over the tokens of appreciation? Big round of applause, please. Thank you everyone for joining us at Bharat Vapsi, organized by IVC and supported by Amazon Web Services, Cyril Amarchand Mangaldas,